What's up, everybody? My name is Itai and I'm the Chess Geek from chessgeek.org. Now, in 2014, Bill Gates ended up taking Magnus Carlsen in a game of chess on a TV show. And that is the game that I'm showing you today, and we're starting right now. Just because this is a more silly game than other chess analysis I have on this channel doesn't mean you can't learn anything from it. In fact, one of the big ideas in this game is understanding your opponent, and you'll see how that plays in. So first, Bill Gates began with e4, and was met with the Nimzowitsch defense, which is knight to c6. Here, Bill Gates played knight to f3, which is a good move, just developing the piece. And here is kind of what I mean. If Magnus Carlsen was playing another GM or a very high-rated player, he would probably play the move e5. It's just a very solid move. But Magnus Carlsen understood his opponent and figured out that Bill Gates is not nearly as good as him, and therefore he felt like he could get away with more tricky openings. So the move d5 was played, which usually would not be played, against another high-rated player. Okay, but here the idea is if takes, well, now the queen's into the action, and when you're playing a worse player, a queen and a knight in the start can be very dangerous for mating early on, which is actually what ended up happening in this game. Okay, so you see that the queen ended up being a very big piece, but instead of taking, Bill Gates played bishop to d3. It seems like a good move, just protecting the pawn, getting ready to castle, but it isn't actually amazing because, it blocks the d pawn, and this bishop here is now not that active. It only acts as a pawn. Okay, so this wasn't a wonderful move, but overall, it's fine. I mean, it's a very passive move. Now the move knight to f6 was played, getting more pieces in the attack and getting ready to win the game. And finally, Bill Gates did this trade in the center. And from this point, Magnus Carlsen had a game plan. And that's what you want to do. You want to make game plans. Okay, so Magnus Carlsen realized that he can probably get away with trying to mate fairly early on. And so realized that once Bill castles, which is what Bill has shown that he wants to do by developing the kingside pieces, once Bill castles, this h2 square will be a lot, it'll be very weak, okay? So Magnus Carlsen looks to, use that by getting the queen there, okay? So queen here along with the knight here will be a mate, but there's a problem. There's a knight here. So now Magnus Carlsen works to get rid of this knight, okay? And that's kind of what you want to be doing. You want to think of game plans. So the move c3 was played, which isn't a good move because it actually just motivates Magnus Carlsen to go on with his game plan of mating quickly. And now castled, which is again Magnus Carlsen's game plan. Once Bill Gates castles, he can try to mate on this h2 square. And now there's a problem though, okay? So with the move, if Magnus Carlsen, tried to just mate immediately, obviously this knight would not let that happen. So first Magnus Carlsen had to try to get rid of this knight. So bishop over here to g4 is a wonderful move, and was met with h3, which is actually a very solid move by Bill Gates. And here, instead of maybe moving the bishop back and trying to reorchestrate this attack, Magnus Carlsen decided to sacrifice a piece and moved the knight here. Okay, so Bill Gates might think that this is wonderful, but the problem is after taking and Magnus Carlsen taking back with the knight, well, now there's this attack again, and this time this pawn cannot stop it. So Bill Gates ended up making a huge mistake here, which is taking on e5, because it leaves the knight guarding the h2 square, which is Magnus Carlsen's game plan all along. So this ended up being a mate. Now, one interesting idea, which again ties into the fact of understanding your opponent, is that in this position, once Bill Gates is up in material because he took that bishop, and then once the knight takes back even, with the move rook over here to e1, that's actually winning. Because Bill Gates is just up in material and there's no real attack that can happen by Magnus because, again, this knight here is just, it's just there right now, okay? So this is actually a winning position for white, or at least white is better here than black. So it's actually very funny that Magnus Carlsen ended up blundering a little bit to get that attack. And again, Magnus Carlsen knew that Bill Gates probably will not be able to capitalize on his blunder, and that's why he ended up playing the blunder. So understand your opponent, and if you're playing someone worse than you, then you can get away with playing some tricky moves, maybe some bad moves, all in order to try to mate early And yeah, that's what happened in this game. Now, I have a couple of things that I want to talk about. First off, if Bill Gates and Magnus Carlsen were to rematch, so this is like 6 years later, what do you think the outcome would be? I mean, I think everyone would agree that Magnus Carlsen would win, but how long do you think it would take? Here, it took 9 moves to mate. How long do you think it would take in the rematch? Personally, I'll say 15. I think 6 years is a pretty good amount of time for Bill to improve his skills in chess, so make sure you leave in the comments below how long you think it would take for Magnus Carlsen to mate Bill Gates. Beyond that, thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed and, enjoyed this more silly analysis that I had today on the channel. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already for more chess videos of openings, traps, game analysis, everything related to chess. And make sure you check out my brand new website at www.chessgeek.org. Thank you guys so much for checking in today, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.